Welcome back. Today we're going to talk about the rule of 3 and the rule of 5. These are rules that people start to meld into their playing game after you've played for a while. And part of the reason why rules grow and evolve is because after you play with the same people or the same game for a while, it starts to get predictable because you know how people think, you know how they play. So you want to tighten the rules a little. You want to make it just a little bit harder. So the rule of 3 and the rule of 5 are similar. First I'm going to talk about the rule of 3, then I'm going to talk about the rule of 5. The rule of 3 states, after initial meld, my partner or I have made initial meld. We have 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 10, 20, 30, 40. So obviously we still have under 3,000 points. We have a natural, we have more than one meld, 2 of our melds have wild cards. After this initial meld turn, if my partner or I wants to start a new rank, let's say we want to start 4s. We have to start it with 3 or more natural 4s before we can add a wild. People who play the rule of 3 outside of the initial meld turn, you are not allowed to start a rank with 2 cards and a wild. That is not allowed. You must have 3 natural before you start adding any wilds. That's the rule of 3. The rule of 5 is very similar to the rule of 3. Again, outside of initial meld. For initial meld, you're allowed to have 2 with a wild. It's how we get up to the points we need. Outside of the initial meld turn, to start any new ranks, you must have 5 of the rank before you can add a wild. So if we were playing the rule of 5, I could start a rank with just 3 naturals. But neither my partner nor I can add a wild to that rank of 4 until there are 2 more 4s there. And then we're allowed to put a wild. So now let's say one of us adds another 4. We still can't add a wild because there are only 4 naturals. And we have agreed as a table to play the rule of 5. That outside of the initial meld, you cannot add a wild to a rank until you have 5 of that rank. 2, 3, 4. Once we add the 5th, we can now add 1 or 2 wilds if we want to. We can finish it with 2 wilds. We can put on 1 wild and finish it that way, however we want to. It doesn't matter. But that's with the rule of 5. With the rule of 5, some people also play that while these jacks were started with a wild with fewer than 5 or fewer than 3 if you're playing the rule of 3, you can't add a wild until the number of jacks gets to whichever rule you're playing. So if I'm playing the rule of 3 at our table, like if our table has agreed to the rule of 3, I can't add another wild to the jacks until there are 3 natural jacks. Now that there are 3 natural jacks, I can add a second wild. Remember, you're only allowed 2 wild cards in any given canasta or rank. If I'm playing the rule of 5, if our table has agreed to the rule of 5, you cannot add another wild until there are 5 natural. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have a total of 6 cards. We would turn it like this, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to let our partner know that we have 6. And now that rank can be closed either with a jack or with a wild. You have to discuss with the table what their attitude toward adding wilds when you're playing rule of 3 and rule of 5 to that initial rank. So you want to just take a minute. Agree with the table. Remember that none of the ways you decide to play are wrong. They're just a variation. And I just want to play and have fun. So take time, negotiate your rules, and enjoy this wonderful variable game of Canasta.